added my initial size. It wasn't a huge wager, but it was plenty for each of these enormous drawdowns. With that, crypto winter is over. Once again, let's pretend that Raoul is completely stupid. Due to the extreme difficulty of market timing, he fails to reach the low by 30%. It would have been easier if I had done that during the 2011 and 2018 cycles. My performance would have been 25 times higher. Because the effect is magnified. What struck me the most was that it all makes sense now. Former Trump friend and Skybridge Capital founder Anthony Scaramucci thinks more pension funds will start investing in Bitcoin shortly. Scaramucci said in an interview with CNBC that additional pension funds may decide to invest in Bitcoin after the state of Wisconsin did so for retirement benefits. New U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) filings reveal that the State of Wisconsin Investment Board has put around $163 million into Bitcoin Trust and A shares, both run by BlackRock and Bitcoin Trust, run by Grayscale. Recent regulatory approval has eliminated a major obstacle for large-scale organizations, according to Scaramucci, who believes that institutional adoption of Bitcoin is already taking place. Regulators have finally given Bitcoin the go light. In my opinion, that was the limiting factor for many of these massive organizations. I want to get long this thing before it gets included in a total tactical allocation index, he added, adding that many astute institutions are thinking along those lines. Although there are challenges associated with being an early adopter, he believes it will be worthwhile in the long run, and he believes that Bitcoin is still in its infancy in terms of popularity. In line with his earlier optimistic attitude on Bitcoin, Scaramucci has recently made a forecast. A few days ago, HIF predicted that Bitcoin would reach $150,000 at some point, citing the rising worldwide popularity of the cryptocurrency as the reason. This prediction was made on Benzina's per-market prep. Scaramucci added that Bitcoin accounts for more than 30% of Skybridge's assets, and that thanks to recent ETF adoptions by BlackRock and other major financial organizations. He is more positive on Bitcoin at $60,000 than HID was at $30,000 last year. On Monday, Scaramucci stated that the amount of Bitcoin on the planet is only 4.8%. That's like the early days of the World Wide Web in 1999 to get a feel for how crazy it was. Just look at the stock prices of companies like eBay and Amazon in 1999. I think we will see a scenario where Bitcoin has 1 billion users as things adapt to scale, and I also think Bitcoin will scale. With Bitcoin's value at $150,000, the network's worth will grow tremendously. How am I doing after riding one cycle? Up and down, selling it out, rebuying into maximum pain, the down 50% day, and the breakout of 10,000 above that. I felt terrific because I had bought it low, sold it into a strong rally in one cycle, and then bought it again. I felt like I had done a decent job with this. After that, I rethought my strategy and wondered why I hadn't stuck with my original lower wager. If I had done nothing, my earnings would have been 5 times higher. I was feeling a twinge of disappointment since I had convinced myself that I was an expert macro trader. No, this asset is now experiencing a logarithmic rise according to Metcalfe's law, which is a model for network adoption. To that end, every peak and valley has been elevated. It continues to resemble a bubble, and then this one set to regular sizing. And if you go back over the chart, you'll see these tiny spikes pitted against this massive trend. After giving it some thought, you may come to see drawdowns as both a feature and an advantage. This time around, I thought, what if I simply add my original size and ran the numbers? It wasn't the most massive wager ever, but it was adequate. Each time there was a huge decline, crypto winter followed. And again, let's pretend Raoul is completely stupid. Market timing is so difficult that he misses the low by 30%. It would have been easier if I had done that during the 2011 and 2018 cycles. My performance would have been 25 times higher because the effect is magnified. What struck me the most was that, to be honest, I get it now, after concluding that we're nearing the bottom of this cycle in 2022, I did nothing except buy. In June, I got the ETH cheap and began buying. After that, I went out and got even more, including some Solana in June, way too early, I know. The next October and November, I made another purchase, and this time, everything went swimmingly. My liquidity cycle served as the foundation for that, considering the current position of the market relative to the macro crypto summer events after having recently emerged from winter. Prior to the market reaching its all-time high, I discovered that my PL had already reached an all-time high. It helped that I got Solana right, but even without that, you may do very well in trading if you compound and add to your holdings. For those of you who aren't in a rush for cash, I recommend that cycle. Enjoy the down cycle with pure delight and pleasure. Anticipate a reduction of 80%. Perhaps there is more or less of it this time. At this point, Solana had fallen 97%. Last time, ETH was 97% lower. And welcome it with open arms because purchasing those lows always yields a 10, 20, or 50x return depending on the coin in question. Thus, it is a tremendous source of money. Last year, Solana was 10 times better. There is still no summer or autumn in the first early spring. At this point, summer is just around the corner. You will undoubtedly increase your profits by going that path. Purchasing the sell-off, embracing it, and having cash on hand if you have a long-term time horizon, we are likely in the midst of our final chance to invest in the market at the moment. This is your final opportunity if you have the means to do so, i.e., either cash or patience. Because things get a little wild once we reach the banana side. When that happens, it becomes unsellable. And if a bear market does occur, your entry points will be underwater. Those levels are not appropriate for you. So, these are great last levels to cram as much as possible, if not more so. Yes, I can believe I can get more and multiply more wealth in 2026 if you're the long-term kind. Prepare yourself financially. So you can respond quickly when everyone is freaking out. Someone has to take a position and declare, hey, I've got money, it might be you, for the simple reason that no one has any cash on hand when you really need it. Finding funds was a challenge for me due to declining cash flows, a sluggish economy, and all the other usual issues. In any case, all right, that's one path. Some of you have suggested an alternative approach, which is to just not rule out any possibility. The pressures of falling markets are too much for me to bear. It's also okay, isn't it? Having a firm grasp of one's own psyche and habits of conduct is essential. The timing on top is something I'm not good at. It ought to be at my workplace between the summer and winter of 2025, as far as I can tell. However, when exactly? It is projected that liquidity will reach its peak in July 2025, according to my data. Is it going to be absolutely correct? I have no idea, but I think it will be about correct because it will resemble previous cycles. Typically, the cycles reach their height around year's end, but is that likely to alter this year? Weird things happened in the last cycle: a massive run-up, a high, a massive sell-off, another peak, stagnation, and then a collapse at the year's conclusion.